Is it correct that HMRC can now reach their hand into your bank account and just take the money if they think you owe them taxes? Well, in short, yes, but it's even worse than that. You see, now they want information directly from the banking institutions about your financial situation, your savings, and so on, in their bid to crack down on tax evasion and to recoup some of that money. You see, it may surprise you to learn that there's over £5 billion worth lost in tax revenue every year just from businesses alone. But this is not a new thing either. This was actually brought about under the Conservative government in the 2014 to 2015 budget, tucked away at the back of Section 1, but it was put on hold for the pandemic. Now, the way that it works is that so long as the person has at least £5,000 across their bank accounts, they will then look to recover anything in excess of that if they believe that they owe them at least £1,000 in tax or tax credits. If indeed they meet the criteria, then HMRC can simply take that money themselves. Previously, they would have needed an order from a magistrate or another judge to give them the go-ahead to take that money. And this is again separate from account freezing orders. But just comparing this for a moment to the usual way of enforcing the taking of money from a debtor, which I'll give you an example of. We've had clients before now who have got a judgment in hand, having won a case at court, but the judgment debtor then just refuses to pay. So they have to pay the money to the judgment creditor, the person that won the claim, but they simply refuse to do so. In those situations, if you know their bank account, you can head off to court and say, well, I would like an order to order the bank to freeze that money and pay it over to our client, the judgment creditor in that case. But you still have to go to court, and that is part of the enforcement process. But that does, of course, require you to know the bank details of the judgment debtor in the first place in order to go off to court. If you don't, you can apply to the court to order them to attend court and then give you as much information as they have. But if you know the bank details, you can go straight for a third-party debt order. And if you don't know those details, you'd be surprised how easily you can get them, particularly if they're a business and you just ring them up and ask them for the details to pay them money. Usually they will then quite readily give you the bank details, and then you can trot off to court for your third-party debt order. But back to HMRC and this scheme, which was seen as quite a success before they froze it for the pandemic. By 2019, a review revealed that they'd already recovered £178 million in tax revenue using this direct recovery scheme. However, and with everything else, there is always the possibility of error, and this is what's attracted criticism from leading experts to say HMRC does often make mistakes, and it will be people that suffer from those mistakes if they do take the money, especially if there's a legitimate dispute against their claim for taking the money, because knowing how long these things take to sort out through official complaints channels, and particularly if you have to go to court, these can take such a long time and cost a lot of money in doing so, and thus people may well lose out. So this is very much a double-edged sword. Many people might see it as a total intrusion of privacy into their bank accounts and the details that they might not want HMRC to have, as against what is a problem with small numbers of people but large amounts of debts that people owe and simply choose to refuse to pay those taxes. In fact, HMRC is quite open with the list of deliberate tax defaulters. I'll link this page below, with the top company on this list having owed £35 million in tax and thus had to pay a penalty of £24 million. And this list goes on. 9 million something, 6 million something, many millions of pounds in tax listed on these deliberate tax defaulters. I'll list this below and you can take a look. And that ultimately is why they want to use this scheme, to directly recover that money because they say it's owed. But I think there are also serious problems and risks with this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. This one, I'm sure, is going to upset a lot of people, but let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you for watching.